Welcome to the Dice Tower's Summer Spectacular, a 5-day streaming event with top 10 lists, live plays, a host of board game fanatics, and more.
Hey everybody, welcome to day 2 of the Summer Spectacular. We are super glad you're here. I hope you enjoyed all the content yesterday. And we have a lot of content today. We're going we're about going 12 hours a day or so, or longer actually. So we hope that you had a good time. If you want to know if you won any of our contests yesterday, the winners are already up on Dicetower.com on the main page. We have a list of all the winners, but also good news, that's only 19 of the prizes, or 21 of the prizes we're giving out, and I think there's 85 in total. So we'll be giving out more as time goes by. Also, I want to point out a couple things. First of all, VirtualCon was last week. Great time. During VirtualCon, there was an auction for different charities, including the Jack Fast Memorial Fund auction. Logo's right there. You can still do that auction. You can jump in that auction. There's a couple things from us in there, big boxes of games we're going to send out, and you can find that link on the main webpage of Board Game Geek. We're also, if you can see here, I got some pictures of various dice guys and dice people that we've had made for the Dice Tower. And you can get your own. We're having an auction. We're raising money for the Dice Tower. You can get your own each day. We're going to have a separate auction. So the auction for yesterday concluded. William Cook won with $497.67. So congratulations to William. So now we're wiping that fresh. You could win with $10 maybe. Just send an email if you want to be involved in this to auction@dicetower.com. Put in any amount you want. The highest amount wins. I would recommend putting in some odd cents amount so that you don't cross other people. Alrighty. Well, I think that's pretty much it for announcements. I've seen people asking questions about what's coming up, what's going on later today. You can always go to our main page and click on the link and see the Summer Spectacular schedule and jump to all the different videos that are involved there. All right, well, it's early morning, and today we're going to be doing something different. We're going to be playing a live version of the Board Gamer Insider podcast. So I'm going to pause for a second and hand it over to the folks running that podcast. Here they are, Ignacy Trzewiczek and Mr. Stephen Buonocore. Welcome to the Summer Spectacular show, gentlemen.
Thank you, Tom. You might want to get the name of the podcast correct. It's Board Games Insider. That's not what you said. I don't know, but it was not that. All right. So, but without further,
if I cared more,
please behave. Hello, Ignacy Trzewiczek Portal Games.
But wait, let's start this the right way. Ignacy, go.
Hello. This is Ignacy Trzewiczek Portal Games.
And this is Stephen Buonocore of Stronghold Games and Indie Game Studios. This is Board Games Insider, episode 151. We're recording this on July 1st, 2020. This episode of Board Games Insider is being recorded live on video and audio at the Dice Tower Summer Spectacular 2020. Board Games Insider is a proud member of the Dice Tower Network. And for this episode, I am happy to welcome my arch nemesis of gaming, the Gandalf to my Saruman, the Professor X to my Magneto, the man without whom my tortured existence would have no meaning. Ladies and gentlemen, Tom Vassell. Hello, Tom. How are you?
I'm okay, actually, because I feel like you just called yourself evil. Didn't he do that? He was the bad guy in all those scenarios.
Yes, I was confused as well, yeah.
But I am, is my gaming nickname. I am the evil one, and, well, you're kind of just like a good guy. So, I will accept the good-evil comparison there. Not a problem at all for me. Anyway, Tom, it is good to have you here, and it's great to be on the Dice Tower Summer Spectacular. Now, as you know, what we do here is a podcast that's around the board game industry, and, of course, information about what's going on at both of our companies. So, Ignacy, without any further delay, why don't you talk about what's happening at Portal Games?
Yeah, so first of all, of course, welcome everybody at the Dice Tower Spectacular. It is nice to be here as a guest with our podcast. Stephen forgot to mention, and it is very surprise for me, We record podcasts every week. We invite everybody to listen to us, Board Games Insider. And this is a podcast with the news from the industry and us answering questions from the audience. But mostly these are the questions about the industry. Like we talk business, we talk publishing, we talk designing. So this is quite original podcast, right?
That is right. We give something back. Go for it.
And for what's happening at Portal Games, news of the week, believe it or not, but I want to invite everybody for the PortalCon, that is an online convention like the Star Wars Spectacular that we are attending right now. Portal Games is doing quite similar, amazing convention next weekend, so 11th of July and 12th of July. And we will have 26 hours of live stream content on YouTube, 13 hours on Saturday, 13 hours on Sunday, a ton of content, a ton of work, and we want to entertain the board gamers. So there will be a board games stand-up. I'm not sure if this is the first time there's a board game stand-up, but maybe one of the first stand-ups in the industry. So I'll be trying to make you laugh, and we'll see if I will succeed. There will be a top 10 fun stories from Design Detective. There will be a fun game show playing Wizard Wagers, the geeky questions. So me and my whole team are preparing like 2 days of fun and engagement with our fans. You can sign up for the convention. You can get your tickets. These are free tickets at portalcon.pl. And if you enjoy the Star Wars Spectacular, I strongly invite you to come to our convention, portalcon.pl. And on YouTube, 11th and 12th of July, we will have fun together. As for because our new listeners that are watching us today, maybe for the first time, they don't know that we have this news segment, and this news segment has these sections that we do every single week. So the news of the week was PortalCon, but the brag of the week, this is the section where I brag, and every single week I try to find something that I can brag about. And today I have enough. There's a thing I want to say that my game Empires of the North was chosen by Tom Vassell, and it is put on the wall behind him. It's an honor for me, so thank you for that. There is no game from Stronghold Games. There is a game from Portal Games, so it makes me so happy.
Well, the brag of the week
is sponsoring the Dice Tower Summer Spectacular, so yes, you get a game. We're also playing that tomorrow. The new factions.
This is the segment when Ignacy sounds like Tom with bragging. So go ahead, please continue, Ignacy.
Now I will try to sound like Stephen Buonocore, so I want to make a sales pitch. We have open pre-orders for our product, pre-orders for Rise of the Empire, a new expansion for Imperial Settlers. So check it out at portalgames.pl/en. Very confusing address, but you can Google it and find it. Pre-orders. Rise of the Empire is an expansion for the Imperial Settlers that adds a campaign mode for the game. So you can play a campaign over many games, and your empire will grow, you will deck build your faction, you will get new abilities, new inventions, you will move from one era to another. Great fun. I'm playing it personally right now with my wife, and I'm 7 games in, and I'm still enjoying it a lot. So this is a pre-orders part of the news. Upcoming street dates: Rise of the Empire in July, Barbarian Hordes, a new expansion for Empires of the North in August. And the last piece of news from Portal Games, I want to invite everybody here on stream to Portal Games Twitch channel. We started Twitch channel, I think, 2 weeks ago. You can find it at twitch.com/portalgamesus. And there is a ton of contributors, amazing people who live stream games. We have live streams for Neuroshima Hex. At this point, after these 2 weeks, we already have 4 streams of Neuroshima Hex. We have streams for Empire Settlers. We have streams for Empires of the North. We have Q&A with our fans. So if you are using Twitch, if you like this live engagement with the publisher, with the team behind the games, go to our Twitch channel, Portal Games US, and we are streaming every single day. This is insane.
Excellent.
That is a lot to stream every day.
All right, so over at Stronghold Games, the news of the week. I promised earth-shattering news for this podcast. So we're going to wait because it's also industry. So we're going to wait till the event deck to get to that. For the challenge of the week, I've been talking about back the comeback week after week for several weeks now. Going to your local game store, taking photos there, shouting them out on your social media outlets. So do that, but also upcoming is an auction at backthecomeback.com where you can register for that auction. Lots of great geek stuff going to be up for auction, and all the proceeds go to charitable organizations. BINC is one, and the other one is the Jack Bassel Memorial Fund, which, of course, helps out gamers in personal hardships. That auction's coming up July 4th through July 18th, so I hope that you have to go and register for it, and then you'll get notices when that started. So go over to backthecomeback.com and do that. Great stuff going on. The invite of the week, I continue to talk about the happy hour at the Stronghold. We've been now doing this. I've been doing this for 14. This is going to be the 15th week that I'm doing it, twice a week. If you want a bunch of positivity and hopefully a little bit of humor in your life a couple of times a week, come on over. And if you'd like to also have a drink together, Tom doesn't come because, well, Tom has come. He's come a couple of times. Come over and hang out. It's every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time and every Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. We get a lot of Europeans. Ignacy's been there once. Tom's been there once, apparently. Okay, Tom, only once. Jason Levine shows up basically every time now and constantly gives away secrets of things he's not supposed to be talking about. That's the truth of it. Every time. So true. Some street dates and some releases. So already we have put out the Pursuit of Happiness Experiences. That's the second expansion for the Pursuit of Happiness. It came out earlier in June. Go check that out. We delayed all of the main releases for distribution to reopen. So we have Ripple Rush, our 7th in our roll and write or flip and write line. That is a September 9th street date. And Divvy Dice, which on BGG is not even called that yet. We haven't even put it up there with the right name in German. It's Gunnen Können. That's not the way to pronounce it, but sorry, Germans, my German-speaking friends. September 2nd street date. That's the 8th in our roll and write line. Check those out. At Gen Con, by the way, we're going to have bundles, Gen Con Online. We're going to have bundles of games that you can get even before the street date from both Stronghold Games catalog and the Indie Boards and Cards catalog. Coming to Kickstarter 1 week from yesterday on July 7th, which is my birthday, by the way. Not Alone Sanctuary, the second expansion for Not Alone. It's a big expansion. This is like the best one versus many game out there. Fast, beautiful artwork, dripping with theme, creepy, where one player plays the creature who's trying to suck your will away, and the aliens and the astronauts have crash landed on the planet, and they're trying to survive before the rescue ship gets there. So that's Not Alone Sanctuary, July 7th on Kickstarter from Stronghold Games. The Tribune and expansion Kickstarter, that's completed, but you still can late pledge. Check that out. And of course, going on right now, for the next 2 days only. So we got 48 hours approximately left, 49 hours to be exact left. Now at $2.2 million and 18,000 backers, Terraforming Mars Big Box. The reception, of course, has been fantastic. It is just beautiful. It's all custom 3D tiles for the Terraforming Mars game, 3D markers, a storage solution for everything. This huge box of that you can then put everything in and put on your shelf. So very excited about that. Check that out just the next 2 days on Kickstarter. Conventions, of course, as you know, we're not going to see each other in person for quite some time. The Virtual Gaming Con, which was a collaboration between the Dice Tower and BGG, has just ended, and it was phenomenal. I had a great time. Tom, thank you to your team and, of course, the BGG team. It went, I literally did. I can't talk more highly about how good it went. BGG has announced that they'll be doing another Virtual Gaming Con, replacing Board Game Geek's fall convention, which will not happen. So I look forward to being there again for that.
I gotta say, when I first heard about these virtual cons, I was kind of skeptical. I thought it wouldn't be a very, difficult thing to run online. But that virtual con, the way that they did it, and using their tabletop.events, which they've now bought, it worked really well.
It worked so well to the point where I am now going to go on record, and this is something we'll talk about on the podcast going forward, is that I believe that every physical convention, major convention, not 200 person or even 1,000 person maybe. Every major convention will now have, of course, the physical section when we can do that, and a virtual portion of that convention, because now the model has been set. Now we know how to do it, and Board Game Geek is leading in the technology. They're going to be doing a lot of the work for Gen Con online, and I know of probably for other major conventions coming up as well. So kudos to them. It went really well. In about a week or so, I will be the super secret special guest of honor at PortalCon Online. And thank you, Ignacy,
I don't think you understand what super
me.
or secret means, but all right.
Thank you, Ignacy, for inviting me, and not somebody else who might be speaking just before me right there.
You're on this show right now.
Yes. Ignacy, thank you very much. Can't wait for that. That'll be the next sort of appearance. But without any other ado, why don't we get to the event deck?
Before we went to the event deck, I want to address what's happening at the chat, because I was looking at the chat, and there is many people who want to play with our inside joke that we are doing for many months already. Steven, people are asking me to pronounce one particular word. I guess you know what word is that.
Yes, and they probably want me to pronounce some. Can't pronounce.
So
go ahead.
For everybody who is listening to the podcast for the first time, I'm not the native speaker. We obviously know that. And for the couple of months, I was struggling pronouncing the name of the expansion for the game that I designed, and I was not able to pronounce it rightly, which was very funny for everybody, except me probably. So that became the inside joke. So I will try again. I am publisher of the expansion called Imperial Settlers Amazons.
Amazons. It's the largest company on the planet, just about. It's in the top 20 companies on the planet. Amazon. And I can't pronounce the word drawing. I say drawing from my Brooklyn accent. Drawing. So we all have our crosses to bear.
Chad,
all right.
Chad is appreciating what we did, so now we can move to the event deck.
Oh, okay, here we go. All right, in the event deck, we have one news item of note, and we're only going to talk about one news item. It's a press release from a small company in the industry. It's from a press release from Stronghold Games. So I'm going to read that, if you don't mind. Read it directly, since I might have had some part in actually writing the press release. It's here on this piece of paper, but I'm going to read it from the screen. Press release. Stephen Buonocore to step down as president of Stronghold Games. Retirement has been in the making for years. Future endeavors outlined. California, USA and Florida, USA, July 1st, 2020, for immediate release. Hobby game entrepreneur, game media personality, and game industry veteran Stephen Buonocore will be stepping down from his role as president of Stronghold Games effective on August 1st, 2020. Buonocore, 59, founded Stronghold Games in 2009 and served as its president for most of that time. Stronghold Games and Indie Boards and Cards merged in mid-2018 to form Indie Game Studios, where Buonocore continued in his role as president of Stronghold Games, as well as in the role of spokesperson for the merged company. Stephen Buonocore is also the co-host of Board Games Insider, one of the most popular hobby game podcasts, and he has appeared in interviews on television, radio, and numerous game media outlets to promote both the company and the game industry. Buonocore also serves on the board of directors for the Jack Vassell Memorial Fund, the purpose of which is to provide financial assistance to members of the gaming community who have suffered personal hardship. And now a series of quotes. After over 10 years with Stronghold Games and the merged company of Indie Game Studios, I have seen incredible growth and change in this fantastic industry, said Stephen Buonocore. Even through the adversity that has been this year, our small industry remains strong. Let us all focus, both from within the industry as well as through the grassroots of gamers, on the growth of an inclusive, diverse community. This must be the future of gaming for us all. It is now time for me to hand the reins of the Stronghold Games brand to a new generation of amazing people within Indie Game Studios. I look forward to playing the games that are made by these great people as they manage the brands of Stronghold Games and Indie Boards and Cards. Please make no mistake. My retirement has been in the making for years as I work through a smooth transition with the CEO of Indie Game Studios and my good friend, Travis Worthington. Under his guidance, the company will continue to achieve great things in the future. I leave to focus on family, friends, interests, and the enjoyment of life. I will continue to produce the Board Games Insider podcast, where I share my knowledge, views, and love of the hobby game industry. I plan to be involved in additional game media outlets as well in the future. I cherish the wonderful relationships that I have forged through Stronghold Games, both with industry people and fans of the company. Rest assured that you will most definitely see me at many future game conventions and shows. I greatly look forward to that for years to come. While president of Stronghold Games, Stephen Buonocore provided vision and guidance for hundreds of game titles, both developed within the company and in partnership with publishers around the world. Indie Game Studios CEO Travis Worthington will continue to direct the merged company. Sydney Engelstein will become the director of game development for Stronghold Games. And then there's this beautiful picture of me right there. It's really attractive. You'll see this when it gets posted.
I put it on the screen, but my computer censored it.
So anyway, that's my big news that I've been having for quite some time. And
That's
literally,
true.
I mean, the most important takeaway there, this cannot be stressed more because there's already some jokes that I can just see people saying. This has been planned literally for years. And in fact, the exact date was planned over a year ago. The 2.5 years ago, and even more than that, the whole plan started coming into place, and the exact date planned over a year ago. So this is not something that just happened. This is not something new. This is not, don't even think about it, being forced out. I will continue to have a significant financial investment in this company. So I really need the company to succeed. That's a really good thing. And it will do great. It's just time for me now to take a step back, relax a little bit, de-stress, and enjoy, what life has to offer. And that's where I'm going to be. Tom, Ignacy, questions from you, the audience, whatever you'd like.
Okay, well, a lot of things to talk about here and unpack. First of all, folks, this is not a joke. Well, I mean, we do joke a lot. And
we
things.
do.
Ignacy, when did he tell you about this?
A few weeks ago.
Really? You kept it from him that long?
There was no reason to. I told my family. I told my really close friends from New Jersey. I told Paula, of course. And I told you for specific reasons and some other
I kept
very
the secret for
industry.
a year. What?
I did not tell Jason Levine. Oh my gosh, for good reason. But there was no reason to. I didn't want to put it out there yet. There was no reason to. And I told Ignacy specifically to make sure that when he heard this, that of course he understands that I want to keep doing this as long as he wants me to keep doing it. I'll just be doing it from the perspective of somebody with deep industry knowledge, the love of games, and somebody who has gone through this process and can comment on the news and give advice to people going forward. So Ignacy found out a few weeks ago.
There are very important questions on the chat, if I can read. Who will Tom play Looping Louie with?
Oh, we're still planning to do that. Me and Stephen, we're going to do our challenge, but we need to wait just a little bit longer. We'll do it in 2020, Lord willing. We're just waiting till we can get together on camera to do it because we thought about doing it virtually, but we really need to put the pie in each other's face physically.
It's so much more satisfying to pie him versus having some.
I don't know what it's like to actually pie Buonocore, but I'm hoping maybe this will be the year.
2-0.
And we're being a bit oblique about it for now because we actually haven't worked out all the details. But you will see Mr. Buonocore on the Dice Tower a lot more in the future.
We'll see.
Yeah. All right. But, okay, so when you're on the shows and stuff, like, are you going to stop wearing the shirt for Stronghold Games? Are you going to stop giving Stronghold news? You said you have a significant stake. How does that work for purposes of the show?
No, it's I'm for the purposes of the show. I'm no longer with Stronghold Games and in the game studios. And sure, with even though I have a stake in the company, it would be disingenuous of me to be acting as an agent of the company. I should not. So, no, I will talk about other things. During the segment where I would normally talk about Stronghold Games, sure, big news coming out from Stronghold. I might emphasize that a little more. Yes, I probably will. But for the most part, I have other interests that I will talk about. Ignacy's probably going to hear more about beer than he's ever heard about in his, he needs to.
I'm so excited.
And other things that I just enjoy. I mean, I will make my segment on that a little bit more of a entertainment, I guess you can say. But I will not. I'm on the show. I don't wear this on the show. This is for today because we're doing video. But I will not be talking. I will no longer introduce myself as Stephen Buonocore of Stronghold Games and Indie Game Studios. So we can do that. How's that?
And what did you say the date was for this again?
August 1st, 2020. And by the way, that date is exactly 2 years to the day that the companies merged. So you can kind of get a synergy of logic behind that as well. Right? The companies merged on August 1st of 2018.
Right. And so actually, Mr. Buonocore will be on Summer Spectacular again this coming, I believe it's Saturday. He'll be on with Sydney, and they'll be talking about Stronghold Games. Ignacy will also be on Summer Spectacular tomorrow as he basically murders me and Z in Robinson Crusoe again.
Nice.
We will die together. Don't worry.
Well, yay. Couldn't you just say we'll win this time?
I wish. I don't see it coming now.
You've played the game so many times. We have to win. All right. Let's see. We'll take some questions here from people. Do you have a retirement trip planned?
I would like to have a retirement trip planned. I guess I had a retirement trip planned, but where am I going, right? I mean, nobody could really go. Technically, you can get on a plane, but should you get on a plane just to get on a plane? I was actually going to – the funny thing is, before all this happened, I was going to be taking a cruise right in August with some friends down here. That was going to be like sort of my retirement cruise. But obviously that got canceled. So at the moment, because none of us can travel, the answer is no. Will I do something that's a retirement thing? Yes. Oh, and by the way, I was going to have a retirement party at Gen Con.
Yeah,
we were planning on
this big party plan.
We were planning on doing, so people who do go to Gen Con probably know the bar too, the pub. It's called Clada. I don't know, Tom, I'm sure you've been there many times at night.
Every night.
Back. He's there every night, Tom, at the bar. Clada is an Irish pub. It's only a few blocks from the convention center itself. And they have it's a nice bar, it's a nice Irish pub, and they have a nice back room. So we were going to rent that out and have a little party and just invite, couldn't invite everybody from the convention, but, invitations to industry people and stuff like that. Not happening, obviously. So there's no real party at the moment, which is all sad. But I mean, that's a minor sadness. Really, my sadness is I'm not going to be physically at Gen Con where I could be just saying kind of goodbye to people and stuff like that. And the whole year I would have been, it might have leaked out a little bit more if I was at conventions, but not a lot. I was keeping it on the down low.
All right, here's a cliche question, says Tropical Penguin. What's your best game experience at Stronghold Games?
My best game experience?
Well, I guess just your best experience or whatever. I don't know.
I mean,
it's Origins. It's that Origins.
The Origins time when you and I went out to lunch. That one? Is that the one you're thinking of?
No.
Or no?
No. The Origins.
Just Origins
your first Origins, where we were booth. You were there in Jack Bass Memorial Fund.
That was really cool. That's sort of like really almost got our relationship off the ground, wouldn't you say? That was the first time that
the first time we met.
In person, was it the first time we met actually in person? Yeah, it probably was. Where we had been speaking a lot offline, in emails, and all of a sudden, I'm going to be there for the first time. I'm going to have a small 10x10 booth, and you said Dice Tower is going to have a 10x10. I think wasn't it Dice Tower, not Jack Vassal? I thought it was Dice Tower.
That particular one, it was Jack Vassal. So there was that startup. There was a startup software company that never went anywhere. and they got the booth, and they did it with Clever Mojo Games, Alien Frontiers, and then we had a 10x10, and then you asked if you could butt in, and at the time I didn't know you as well, so we said yes.
So we got a nice 20x20 booth, which we literally put up all of the curtains, so to speak, so that we actually were separate, but we all helped each other out. We all helped each other watch booths, so it was just me at there. I was the only person at the show, and that was in 2011. 2011.
I have it written down here for purposes of something else.
I'm sure it was Origins 2011.
Yes.
I guarantee.
Might have been. Yeah, it was 11 because that was the year we announced the Jack Bassel Fund. Jack had died earlier that year, and then we came, and that was our first big push for it.
Right. And I had my new release of Survive, Escape from Atlantis, and Confusion, Espionage, and Deception of the Cold War. So those are my 2 games there, and I sold out. I sold like 60 copies of each one. It was great. We did some auctions and stuff like that. That was the one when that Tom and I kind of began our wonderful.
Yeah, I don't even know what happened. I guess we joked a bit and it just grew into something.
Tom, we have a strange and wonderful relationship. I am wonderful and you are strange. That's the way it is. So let's just go with that.
He writes these lines down ahead of time. It's so sad.
How about that time at Gen Con? Maybe it might have been Gen Con the year after that, where we all went to that restaurant.
Yeah,
and it's the name of. It's Dick's Last Resort is the name of the restaurant on the main drag there. It's in Indianapolis, Dick's Last Resort, and there's a lot of jokes on the walls and things, and they make fun of you. They put funny hats on you and draw things on your hats. It was hysterical. And Tom was as soon as he walked in, he was like, I don't know if I can stay in this place. We had a great time. You, me, my buddy Chad, Eric Summerer, Z Garcia, and one other person I can't think. I think it was Rob 6 Searing. Of us. Maybe it was Sam.
I'm going to argue that I did not have a great time, but I did. Well, here's the thing. I like joking with people like you who I know. It's really weird when people insult me and I don't know them.
Tom, everybody insults you, and you don't really know them. So just so you know.
All right. Where will Steven build his library museum once he leaves office?
Oh, my library, like a presidential library. It's right here behind me, as you can see. There's like a 30-foot wall of games here. Literally, this wall goes 30 feet to that window, the back of the house, and that window, the front of the house. Here's my library. I'm going to build up from there. If you take a look, the games continue going up. But I literally think that I'm going to build up. Possibly.
Are you going to get one of those rolling ladders that you can?
That's sort of the goal, but I don't know if I want to go that far. We'll see. I mean, that would just be for like the show of it all. But this is what I built my life on, so why not show it off more?
On that note, I got to say that
Stronghold Games, right?
Say that again, Ignacy?
You will have to buy these Stronghold Games right now.
I'm going to have to start buying them.
I gotta say, Ignacy, you're the first publisher on the show in a long time that doesn't have a pile of their games or signs in the background.
I'm recording from my office here, so I have games at home here in the office. I also have a games room on the different floor. So here is just my office. Please
note that I have plenty of games from other publishers there. I just happen to put some of the more important ones right here. Look, Ignacy, look what I got right here.
I appreciate it. Finally, thank you. I appreciate that. You are so kind.
That's what Big Box is going to go when I get it, right?
I have to say, Ignacy, I'm still impressed that he managed to get you to print a game with his company's name on it.
Yeah, that's. I don't know if you heard that story. Maybe
that's a great story. You want me to tell the story?
Yeah, tell the story to the audience because it's funny.
Early Stronghold Games career. I mean, I just started the company. In 2009, 2010, and a game was announced called Stronghold, and I'm like, wow. I mean, first of all, the game sounds amazing. It's like the Battle of Helm's Deep, right? You got to go assault the Stronghold, the two sides, and I'm like, that would be a game called Stronghold in our catalog would be like amazing. So I reach out to this guy, Ignacy Trzewiczek, I can't remember who can pronounce that name. So I reach out to this guy and I say, hey, we're this new company, Stronghold Games. We think that we could do a great job by publishing Stronghold in North America. It would be great co-branding. I think this would be great. So please let us know if we can do that with you. I think this would be a wonderful opportunity. I got back a one-sentence email. No, thank you. That was it. That was it.
What happened, Ignacy? You were right the first time.
I thought, what a stupid idea. The guy is contacting me that my amazing game that I was designing for many, many months matches the title of his company, and this is the only reason to publish it. So I said no, and that's it.
And you told to the family that this was the single worst decision you ever made in your career, that you went with some other company to help you with that game. True or false, sir? True or false?
That's true. We went with Valley Games, and it went very, very bad for us. So yeah.
Don't even mention that company anymore.
They're out of business. It's not like they're going to come after you.
They're very out of business.
Next question from Gator Dave. He said, did the COVID situation ever put the timeline of this transition in doubt?
No, not at all. It had nothing to do with it. It had nothing to make it this date. It had nothing to change the date. I mean, the only thing is that the COVID situation, as I mentioned a second ago, did not enable me to see more people this year. But I'm going to see them all next year. I'm going to be at the conventions, at least a significant number of them. You know, as I mentioned in that press release, I will not be staying at home. I'm going to be at the conventions. I'm going to be out there. You won't see me quite as brightly colored. I might be wearing the logo of somebody else, not game publishing. I'm not going to publish any games.
I think you will have a T-shirt with the big name, special guest of honor, and you will go for every single convention inside the T-shirt.
I love that. I'll just wear special.
You should get something that says that as just a permanent basis.
I'm writing that down right now. Special guest of honor T-shirt. Okay, good.
All right, let's see. Mikhail Hansen says, Stephen has done a lot of good for the hobby, and he's always entertaining on camera. Best wishes for the future, Stephen. We look forward to see more of you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that more than you can possibly imagine. I really do.
Will you train a Padawan to become Tom's new rival?
No. Nobody gets that title. That's me. I am the arch nemesis of gaming of Tom Vassal. There's nobody taking that title away.
Ignacy, this question's for Ignacy. Will Rise of the Empires be as big of a change as Empires of the North was to Imperial Settlers?
Well, I don't think so. This expansion adds like a new phase, like an upkeep phase. So after you finish the game of Imperial Settlers, you then treat your deck, your empire, like in role-playing games. You get these experience points. You spend them to buy inventions. You conquer new provinces. You have to pay taxes. So there's like this whole management phase, which is super fun to grow your empire. And then the next game, you start the game again, playing regular Imperial Settlers with few new abilities that you conquered from the new provinces. So the gameplay for the Imperial Settlers is basically the same. You just get the new abilities, new powers, new cards during this maintain phase. So no, it is for all Imperial Settlers fans, it's just a great new way to play the game in the long run, but it doesn't change the basic gameplay that much.
Paula is texting my family. Stephen just announced it.
And now people will be calling you.
Yeah, that's true. The phone starts ringing. I got a job for you.
No.
Stephen, what's the game you're most proud of from the entire Stronghold Games catalog?
Before
we're supposed to say Stronghold.
I'm supposed to say Stronghold, right? Before the production of this of Terraforming Mars Big Box, which is a monumental production, and I'm going to give kudos on this to the team. I had a modicum of real work to get this done. So Travis, Sydney, Kira Peevely. I mean, just amazing amount of work to make that happen. Sure, I had input, but they did it. On my own, my single proudest game that I brought out was Space Cadets Away Missions. That's one of the most underrated games, co-op, dungeon crawler in space, dripping with theme, retro sci-fi, 102 plastic miniatures in that game. So I loved how that game ended up looking. It is still, I have the painted figures that I got. That was the first game we ever kickstarted, the only game I kickstarted until the merger. So that is to me, like the one that I did solely, with artists and things like that, and with the designers who brought the game in, of course. That's my magnum opus in the game that I brought out. Of course, I'm so proud of the work that we did on Terraforming Mars, because Terraforming Mars was sent to us by Fricks Games. Fantastic design, wonderful game. But we spent better part of a year in taking the game from its original design and developing that game to what it became. And, that was not an insignificant amount of toil to get that to happen. So, that would be right up there as well, of course.
Well, which Stronghold game do you enjoy playing the most?
Oh, what game in my catalog do I enjoy playing the most? Well, I think really Not Alone is really, I mentioned that is going to be a Kickstarter coming up, but it's that's not untrue. It really is that Not Alone has always been in my catalog one of my favorite games. I just love being the creature. I love that whole hidden, not hidden role, but it's trying to figure out where the astronauts, the survivors, are going to be on the planet and try to capture them and drag their will away. That's the one that I have sort of the most fun, when I'm getting a little deeper. And then when I'm just taking it kind of light, Flamme Rouge to me kicks butt. I love that. You can play that game again and again. Every time you play it, you're like, whoa, I'm going to do it again. And that's the bicycle racing game, for those who don't know. We do that in cooperation with Lauta Pellet out in Finland. We'll be coming out with another expansion for that on Kickstarter either late this year or early next year. Grand Tour is what it's called. So those are my favorites.
I cannot wait to listen to the first podcast that you are interviewed when you are not working for Stronghold Games. It will be like a different person without the sales speech, without plugs. I cannot wait. There will be a different person interviewed.
I'm being asked about what my favorite.
It will be a nice change, but it's going to take a while. But we'll get him to the point where he'll finally admit some of those games just weren't that good.
Oh my gosh!
No, Ignacy admits some of his games weren't very good from the beginning. You won't admit it ever.
Why are you bringing Rattle Battle Grab the Loot? Why we are talking about this? Come on.
All right. So the question for Ignacy: when is the Robinson Crusoe big box with all the promos going to be released?
Yeah, so we are doing now the expansion called Treasure Chest, and this is indeed the one box that has all the promos that I was designing since 2012. So I lost the control over all this content, and we finally decided, okay, let's list all the promos, put them in one box. But this is not like a huge box, it's not like a storage box, it's just a one treasure box expansion, Treasure Chest. It will be released for Essen. Of course, we have Spiel Digital this year, but it will be around the Essen. And all the promos, all the special characters, new discovery tiles, new scenarios, etc., etc. It is in production right now, so it's coming. It will not bring me $1.5 million, so I will not get for retirement, but it will be released in October.
Well, is the telescope going to be in it?
Yes.
How many?
That's a good question. At least 5, I guess.
Oh, I love that. The only promo you have to rip up to use.
I love that when people put those kind of things in games.
Mr. Buonocore, were you planning?
Let's frighten the viewer. So this is the Spyglass. It gives you game modifiers and bonuses if you are desperate enough during the game to do that.
Oh, it's so painful.
I love it.
I love that too.
I love it. I was playing I started Clank Legacy with my children the other day, and they were ripping cards up. It's the first time they've encountered that in a game, and they were like, "Are you sure?" I was like, "Yes." And then they ripped them up. They're like arguing over who gets to rip the cards up.
Into little pieces. I still don't like Gloomhaven and Legacy games to play. I don't rip them up. I take them and I put them in a bag that says ripped up cards. I don't actually rip them. I don't know. Silly.
Were you planning on announcing this at Dice Tower East originally?
Yes, we were. Tom can verify that. We were definitely going to do that on the main stage there. So had to do it here instead.
Yeah, and then it was going to be there, but the big deal was going to be at Gen Con. It was supposed to be this really big deal. So it is what it is. But again,
It is what it is.
I don't know how much I can emphasize. You will see, Stephen, on the Dice Tower more in the future. People keep asking those kind of questions. It will happen. We'll give details as we figure them out.
Maybe. We'll see.
Are you going to do the old retire and then start another company in a few months?
There is zero. Well, in publishing, there is 0% chance of that happening. I was very clear, I think, in the press release that my interests and my family and my friends and the enjoyment of life are going to be the things that I do in retirement. And I have a lot of interests. I mean, I watch the financial news and I make sure that, all my money is okay. And I love to vacation, and I love to go on great cruises and just visit family and friends and stuff. So that's the stuff. I will not be starting another company, certainly another board game publishing company. I'm not going to start any company in this industry. I'm going to, as I also mentioned, I'm going to be part of other board game media outlets in various ways, and we're going to continue to do this podcast as long as Ignacy lets me.
There is exactly at this very moment question on the chat. Board Games Insider will continue. Of course, yes, we will do together.
I said it.
We have a great time recording this podcast, so.
I hope people get that feeling, because literally, I have laughed so hard during these podcasts that the audio meter must peak. I'm so the things that Ignacy says, and so it's really good. We enjoy doing this quite a bit.
Yep.
Question for Tom: what are your favorite games that Stephen and Ignacy have been involved in? My favorite game I played with Ignacy was last year, actually. We played Empires of the North at Essen. He ran up because he forgot that he was supposed to be there, dove in, grabbed the box, opened it, taught the game on the fly. We played it in less than 30 minutes. Really fast. Fastest game I've ever seen, and it was just really fun. Also, I won.
Very cool.
I was trying to think of this with Buonocore. We don't actually play a ton of games together. We usually spend our time yelling at each other or eating. We've had so many meals together.
We've played a few, and we just have to think what they were.
I guess I'll say Jenga.
Played,
the Jenga game was amazing.
The Jenga game was amazing. Loop and Louie is amazing. But kind of serious games that we played together. Like we played at 4 a.m, 3 a.m. on maybe it was the last marathon that you did. Maybe it was 2.
Oh, that's right, the marathon game.
Played
You're right.
First Continent. Do you remember that game? Seventh Continent. I was like, we literally, because Tom does these 24 hours basically with very little breaks in there, and so we go to bed early to wake up early to be on camera first thing, and you're literally we were doing it at the Cool Stuff Orlando headquarters. And I'd go and I'd make the coffee in their office, and I'd come onto camera yeah, Tom, just explain. He's trying to explain this game, which is not an insignificant amount of rules either. That's not a light game to be playing at 4 a.m. So that was one of my favorite times. And we played games, mostly light games at the marathons.
Ignacy, are you mentally ready to have more Stephen in the podcast with great ideas, in quotes, now that he'll have more free time?
Yeah, that's scary part. He already was doing most of the show notes for the show. He was doing all this scheduling. So now we will see what will happen. But yes, Stephen has great ideas. Yeah.
Actually, Ignacy, you've been the driver. Again, I'd love to give credit where credit is due, except when it's Tom. You've been the driver of most changes that we've made in the show. It was your idea to start the show. Start with that one. He came to me and I said, "Would you like to do that?" And I'm like, "Sure, it sounds great." The changes that we've made in format, minor as they might have been, the addition of certain segments, like playtesting segments, was new. So things like that. That was all on the costume. And Mary is making a lot of noise in the background. Put Mary on camera. Come on, put Mary on camera.
Too late.
Too late, she left.
All right, I don't know if you can answer this, Stephen, but someone wants to know roughly how many units of Terraforming Mars have sold.
We never talk about print run sizes, but let's put it this way. the number is in the six figures, of course.
Well, yeah, I mean, most people don't talk about it, but they do issue press releases when they pass different milestones usually.
Maybe when it passes 1 million units, we'll let you know.
Well, you won't know. They won't tell you anymore.
Trust me, I'll find out.
There was a question on the channel that I saw it. Who will be the spokesperson for the company?
So we're not going to appoint a specific spokesperson the way that I was. But as I mentioned, Sydney Engelstein is becoming the director of game development for Stronghold Games. So while she reports to Nick Little. He's vice president of game development and production. She reports to him. That'll continue. Sydney will ensure that the catalog of Stronghold Games is represented well within the company, represented in the market. She'll continue focusing on the Stronghold brand in game development. Now, she also does for indie boards and cards side of the house as well. But Nick is, of course, involved deeply in that. We also have Anna Russell doing work there. We have a great team that's been developed in Indianapolis, and I cannot tell you how proud I am that that this is the people that I'm leaving the company to. Oh yeah, and Travis Worthington, CEO out in California. He's okay. He's a good guy. He's a very good guy.
Someone's asking what channel on YouTube the show's on. It's actually not a YouTube show. It's a podcast.
We don't do this A, live, B, video ever. We've done it only once before, Ignacy. Live, we did it at
the Dice Tower Con.
At Dice Tower Con a few years ago. We did it live there, and then we got the audio and we put it on the channel. But this is a podcast. You can go onto iTunes, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcasts. Look for Board Games Insider. We're like over 20,000 downloads an episode, so that's making us probably I say it's one of the most popular. I think it's probably in the top 5.
And we have a huge chance to win Golden Geek Awards next year because I'm asking for this every episode.
Yes, vote for us for the Golden Geek Awards next year.
Yeah, I feel like if you were looking for the top podcast, you just go down all the ones that won the Golden Geek in the past.
No, that's a popularity contest. That's completely different. There's
so what did you say? You said top according to what?
Number of downloads. That's all. Number of downloads. I think
that's the same thing as popularity.
Or not. We've been nominated before.
Well, yes, lots of people have been nominated. I'm not saying your podcast is bad at all. I'm just saying your ego's big. All right. Are you still continuing your presence with the escape room you co-own?
Oh, sure. I mean, that'll be one of the things I probably end up mentioning a lot on Board Games Insider, and maybe give people codes to go play, because escaperoomadventures.com. It's a physical escape room in Fort Myers, Florida. I co-own that with Zev Schlosinger of WizKids, Frank DiLorenzo of R&R Games, and a gentleman by the name of Josh, I don't know if he wants his last name mentioned, who's not part of the game industry. So we co-own that. We've now taken 3 of the 5 games and made them virtual as well. So you can play from all over the world, and you can play in one of our escape rooms at that location. And they play really well virtually. I'm not just saying that. I've played 2 of the 3 of them virtually. They play very, very well. I played other ones virtually, and they play very well too. So this is a whole new thing that people who are still not able too scared, have health problems, they don't want to be out yet, that's okay. You can go over to escaperoomadventures.com and you can play the virtual version of our games. I highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun. Play with your friends from around the country, around the world. You all play together.
All right, this question says, as a retirement present, Tom should give Steven himself a Dice Tower seal of approval. And I cannot do that, but I will do this. I will say,
what do you mean?
Seal of Excellence.
You can't say seal of approval?
I said seal of excellence.
Is that better?
Which yes. Is the best?
Oh, okay. All right. That's better.
But I'm going to cover up your face because that's even the best. That way we can give you the seal of excellence and no one has to look at you.
I'm not watching the actual video.
You'll see it
YouTube.
Later.
Sure I will. I will watch the whole thing.
All right, I'll say this real quick, and I'll retract this later on. But Mr. Buonocore has been a fantastic friend over the years and really good, and all of our back and forth is mostly a joke, except, to be fair, when the show's off air, it continues. But we've had some very meaningful conversations. We talk about stuff that I won't talk about to most people, and this has been killing me because I've been sitting on this for a year. I think, like...
What?
No, you. No, I'm saying that, knowing that you were leaving. Like, I didn't tell almost anybody. I think Eric Summer knew. And
Z Garcia knew.
Well, yeah, Z knows everything. But
not Jason Levine. No Jason Levine. Not been a year. I did not tell you a year ago, but I told you a while ago.
It was almost a year. It was at the retreat. You realize it's July. Do you guys realize that the year 2020 is now half over?
And I can't wait for the other half to end, too.
Yeah, I know. I know you should be that way. We don't want to speed up time.
No,
Adam
you don't.
Sandler taught us that movie with the remote control.
And I got to say that really I'm not a religious man, but I am truly blessed in my life. I am truly blessed to have made these great relationships with these two gentlemen here, all the people in the industry, and all the fans out there. I've done very well. I'm a very, very happy person. This is a really good thing that's happening. Thank you for your friendships, both of you. I really appreciate it. And now I can be mean again to Tom.
Yeah. Enough of that malarkey.
Enough of that stuff. Malarkey. You're an old man.
All righty. Well, I think I've gotten all the pertinent questions out. Oh, here's one for Ignacy. Is there a release date for Barbarian Hordes?
Is August, I think 20th of August. It would be middle of August. I don't remember the exact day, but very, very soon.
And when will it be up for pre-order?
I guess in a couple of weeks as well. Very, very close. We already get this in our warehouse, so very, very soon.
And you'll be able to watch Barbarian vs. Barbarian tomorrow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, are there any new expansions to Terraforming Mars in the making?
So we were very clear about the future of Terraforming Mars. There will be no mechanical new mechanisms added into Terraforming Mars, right? So you're not going to see things like Venus Next, colonies, and turmoil. Those things will not happen. Certainly, there's a chance that new cards can be added and things like that. None are specifically in the works, but of course, things like that are a lot easier to do because Fricks Games has got lots of ideas on things. So right now, there are no expansions in the works. However, and I'm not giving you any more news, you'll have not heard the last of the Terraforming Mars brand.
All right,
no
we're caught up
reaction
on
from either one of you
questions.
guys.
So, back to you, Mr. Buonocore.
So now let's move into the playtesting segment.
So playtesting segment is the moment when we ask each other questions, and we most importantly ask questions for our audience. And we have a special guild at Board Game Geek where our fans and our listeners discuss with us and answer these questions. And today, of course, is a special day for the podcast, special day for Steven. So my question is very simple and is mostly dedicated to our fans, because the question is, which game of Stronghold Games you enjoyed the most? Which game gave you the most memorable moments, amazing times that you will remember for years? Because as we many times said in this podcast, board gaming is about being with friends, being with the family. So let's not even talk about which game is the best, but which game gave you the best memories.
Ignacy, did you even read the show notes today? That's not the question. That's not the question that I put in there. I put a question in there.
I put questions. Come on, and I got prepared for the show. What do we have here in the show notes? Let me check.
Great. So we'll use that one. What's your favorite game? Which one has brought you the most joy? We'll use that one. Ignacy will post that in our guild on Board Game Geek. Look for that under playtesting, episode 151.
The show notes, right?
And also, but the one you were supposed to ask, Ignacy, is What the heck is Stephen Buonocore going to do in retirement? I wrote this question so that you could ask me, but I figured that we'd get a lot of funny answers about that. So if you want to answer both of those questions, that will be kind of funny. So please go over to our guild on BGG, find our play testing thread for this question, and post your answer to it. And Ignacy right now, as I speak, is going there, and he's posting it because he always forgets to do this, but he's going to do it right now. And you can go find this really, really soon. Let's move on to our final scoring. Thank you all so much for listening. Help us spread the word about this podcast by telling your friends to download Board Games Insider wherever they like to get their podcasts. To ask us questions for our strategy and tactics segment, you must post them in the correct forum in our guild on Board Game Geek. To answer our question to you from our playtesting segment, which Ignacy did not ask the right one, but that's okay. Also, go to our guild on Board Game Geek and look for the thread with this episode's question. Board Games Insider has a Facebook page, so please like us on Facebook, that's /Board Games Insider. Like our company Facebook pages as well, that's /Stronghold Games and /Portal Publishing. Our company websites, of course, are strongholdgames.com, portalgames.pl, and portalgamesus.com. Go there, sign up for the newsletters, and get up-to-the-minute information on both Stronghold Games and Portal Games. On social media, you can speak directly to Stephen and Ignacy on Twitter, @Stronghold Games or @Trzewiczek. Instagram, it's the same ones, and we both have YouTube channels that are active. We hope to see you at an upcoming convention when the crisis is over. Please share your love for Board Games Insider with your friends, and if you have a podcast that you want professionally edited, Matthew Jude is your man. He's from This Game is Broken podcast. If you'd like him to edit your podcast, please reach out to him in email or Twitter. His email is thisgameisbrokenpodcast@gmail.com. So for this, I think we had a lot of, I don't know if you have anything news that you want to quickly add at the bottom, but if you do, go ahead. I have,
my very simple news is once again, 11th and 12th of July, portalcon.pl, YouTube, convention, 26 hours, board game stand-up, and a lot of fun stuff. So go to portalcon.pl, learn about the whole event. We have the whole schedule published. You can choose which event you prefer the most and be with us on YouTube 11th and 12th of July. This is my most important news. This is what my team is preparing for many, many weeks for you.
With special secret guest of honor.
Yes, we have Steven.
Do we know what the word secret means? I feel like we don't here.
I precisely do not put you on the schedule. Like if anybody goes to portalcon.pl, they will not learn about you. But yes, you are our guest.
Secret. And without the Tom Bassel being on there at all. No Tom Bassel on there. So that's how we're going to celebrate.
That's true. I was not invited.
Good. And you shouldn't have been. Perfect.
Steven was not invited too, but he's there.
I wasn't invited. I made him invite me. All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We appreciate it. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. All right, Tom. We're done on our side.
All righty. Well, that's the end of their episode show, and you can listen to that. And they are one of many podcasts on the Dice Tower Network, and you can find all that at dicetowernetwork.com. If you don't listen to podcasts, it's really a great way to spend time. I listen to podcasts when I'm driving, which I don't do as much these days, but you can listen to it while doing other things. There's a lot of cool podcasts. So thank you both for being on the show. Again, you will see both of them further in the Summer Spectacular. Ignacy, you will see with us tomorrow. And Mr. Buonocore, you will see with us Saturday. And you will probably see them both on our show in the future beyond that, too. So we want to thank both Stronghold and Portal for sponsoring the Summer Spectacular. And not just Stronghold, but Indie
Game Studios.
Indie Game Studios, which is the parent company of Stronghold. Alrighty, folks. Well, we got to get cranking because we're going to be back at 10:30. If you want to see the next YouTube video, there's a link in the description below. So until next time, I'm Tom Vassal.
I'm Stephen Buonocore.
And I'm Ignacy Trzewiczek.
At Amazon. We'll see y'all next time.
Take care.